Going to go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it. That's just a heavy
Going to go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
All right, guys, welcome in. It's Goin for
close.
Two,
That was
presented
close.
presented by Joe Cools. Chad just got hot mic'd, so good thing for Liam that he had him on mute at the time. But before we get started, and we're gonna talk NFL, we're gonna talk NCAA. I know you guys, there's some big fights. We have some hockey and baseball to talk about. I gotta tell you guys what happened to me and what happened to our bets yesterday. So anybody that's been following our bets, which it looks like a significant amount of people are, because the lines continue to move on CoolBet, which is,
market movers.
Always. But yesterday we had the Sabres, who were trying to break their 17-game losing streak, which that's unprecedented in hockey. So we had the Sabres on the money line. They had a 3-0 lead in the third period.
Say that one more time.
We had the Sabres on the money line. They had a 3-0 lead in the third period. They shit the bed. Now, how did they shit the bed? Oh, they rolled in it. Now, they gave up a quick one in the third period. Then they were playing okay. Then Giroux popped in the second one. I was like, fuck, here we go. CoolBet sent me a thing saying, hey, do you want to accept this cash out? I was like, no, we're good. We're good. We got this thing. And then they pull the goalie. And I can't even think of the guy in the Sabres, but he pulled the Charlie Conway from D3, where he tries to score on the empty net and literally loses the puck and slides ridiculous. Gunnar Stahl shoots around the corner, takes the puck away from him, and here we go. Right down, tie it, 30 seconds into overtime. Well, we might as well chuck that bet away. That one's toast. And that was a good one. That was a plus 175. So that was shit.
Now we know why.
Well, hey, it should have hit. It should have hit.
Yeah,
I think that the Sabres owe me a little bit of money, and they might owe some of the people that are here watching a little bit of money. But it wasn't done there. This all happened in the span of 30 minutes. The Houston Cougars were up 17 points. We had them to win by 7.5. Now, the game went back and forth a little bit. Some free throws here or there. Whatever. 5 seconds left. This dickhead from, I don't even remember who they were playing yesterday, runs down the court, half-court shot, three-pointer. There goes the spread. See you later. That bet's out the door. Punted in another one. And I was fired up. And I was a little bit mad that you guys weren't fired up. But I knew that you guys didn't bet on it if you didn't text me fired up. But I had to get that off. I had to get off my chest. It was a little bit ridiculous. I didn't even watch the second basketball game yesterday. I had it on just on my side TV, but I didn't even watch it because I was so annoyed with sports at that point. But I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the tournament. Have you guys been paying attention? I know that Shaka Smart's already moved on to Marquette, Kaylin, like I told you he was going to, but I told you he was going to. I said there's no way that this guy comes back to coach another year at Texas.
Yeah, well, it might have been for the best in the reality of things, right? He makes it to the tournament and loses in the first round all the time.
But I don't think that
such a loser mentality. Oh, it's for the best. We lost.
We have our pool going on. I'm pretty sure Isaac's in first.
Been
we're
killing
not
it.
break.
Oh no, he's not.
Derek
He's not?
Delberg.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I'll pull it up right here. He's not in first. I think he has a chance to have the best though.
Well, yeah, I mean that's been kind of going on. As far as breaking down each individual game, I think that's going to take us all night. We're not going to do that. But what has been the biggest surprise to you guys, assuming the games that are on right now don't go the way that you think they're going to go?
Yeah.
What's the biggest surprise to you right now?
Am I allowed to say Oral Roberts?
I don't see why not. We had that video on earlier. I think that was Oral Roberts on earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest surprise for me.
I think it's just in general. I almost said the seeding meant nothing this year. That was my biggest takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the big schools, they weren't in there, and if they were, with the lack of schedule and the lack of the training together. I think it shows that when some of these schools aren't together year round, what can happen, and how close some of these conferences are. I gotta put my foot in my mouth. I fucking trashed the Pac-12, and then they Oral Roberts me is what happened. Forced.
Mascara down the face,
Yeah.
Roberts you.
Yeah, it just teared me up a little bit,
Yeah.
So
Well,
were they
I
your
think it's
biggest? Were
I
they
think
your
that
biggest
just in
disappointment?
general, just the competition all the way through has been amazing, and
Yeah.
we're seeing things that we've never really seen before. As these lower seeds getting chances to play, and they're winning, and they're knocking out top schools.
right.
And it's just good. I think it's good for college basketball, and it's good for to grow these smaller programs too. Having a tournament that was like this.
Okay,
Now,
and
people
yeah,
also recognize them as schools. So these kids now getting offers, they might be, hey, we know who they are. We know who Lowell of Chicago is, or however the fuck you say it,
right.
and stuff like that. I think it's just good for all around for college basketball in general.
Well, and that's what I was gonna like. For me, I think it's great what USC has been able to do. Like, I think that this Mobley kid is gonna be fantastic, and pretty soon he's gonna have a Raptors uniform on. So most of the people that are Raptors fans out there are gonna enjoy that. So if you didn't watch the tournament and you want to know who Evan Mobley is, just go look it up. But I wanted to ask you guys how you feel about the tournament, just based on everything that Chad was just saying. Like, I know we're crazy sports fans. No matter what teams are playing, we're gonna watch it. I mean, we've watched women's beach volleyball before slow pitch. If rugby was on, we'd probably watch the Toronto Arrows. Or, like, that's who Cool Bet sponsors. We watch curling. As long as there's something that we can put money on it, that we're probably gonna watch it. But if you were the casual fan tuning to like, what is your motivation to watch this Final Four that's gonna probably consist of a couple of teams that you've never ever heard of?
The biggest thing about this Final Four that I'm excited about is hopefully that Gonzaga can win one. Like, since we've been in high school, they've been knocking on the door. Sweet 16 that first year, they had the big run. Elite Eight, they've had a couple Final Fours. They've also been knocked out in the first round a couple times. But like, they're always in this big what if going into the tournament. They come from a smaller conference, so the record's always near the top. And they've had great seating, shit seating, middle of the road seating. And it's always that thing where like they're always just there and they've never taken that step. And for someone like me who's just an overall sports fan, like outside of football, I think I'm really excited to see them finally have a chance to win one and put a mark on their school and on their not a franchise, but you know what I'm trying to say right there.
Their program,
Yeah, their program. Like, they've been there so many times, and they're always that team there's so much hype about, and they just don't ever follow through. And this could be they do it. So that's what I'm really excited for.
Who did they match up against? Right?
Right now they're playing against USC. They beat Creighton.
Yeah.
They haven't really been tested yet, and I think that's kind of the overall. As long as you're dominating the teams you're playing, if they're not supposed to be good teams, then that's great. So right now, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you the score because I know my TV is a little bit ahead of Chad's.
Last time I saw, they're up by 20. No, they're up by 14 on right now on mine. So
okay, so yeah, we're about the same right now then. I think it's going to be interesting. Like a team like Baylor, who has kind of always also been that team that has the fantastic talent, all the athletes, just can never make it happen. But they're in the Final Four, and they're going to play Houston. That's also a crazy that game is probably going to be the best game of the tournament. Yeah, that game is going to be the best game of the tournament for sure. The Baylor and Houston game. Like, no matter who's in the final.
Yeah. What will be fun for me to watch is Baylor just in general. I don't know what it is, but just watching like super tall, lanky guys drop 3 bombs, it's fucking fun, man. So
that's Kaylin's type.
Stop.
Yeah.
It's just like, when you watch them, like
you just like set that on a tee for us.
I think it's just funny as hell. It's the way that the game has evolved so much that those guys were always the inside, the 3 feet from the rim, and now those guys are way out the 3-point line. Now it's awesome. It's jokes.
Watching guys that are 6'9" hit threes, though, that's just not right.
I know
Right.
it's so unfair. Like I remember like just playing ball at like West with guys who were like 6'1" dropping threes and not being able to cover that. Can you imagine like trying to cover a guy who's actually 6'9"? It's just insane. Like Durant. Like when Durant came out, he was a freak athlete. But now you're getting those type of athletes almost every year. It's crazy.
Well,
That's
yeah,
'cause-
for sure.
And that's Golden State, right? They changed the way the game's played, and now all these teams are adopting it. And it's kind of off topic, but like I'm not a huge basketball guy, but the way that Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors influenced basketball the last 10 years, it changed the way the game that was played. And now these schools can just start dropping dimes from everywhere. And like, as I forget what show I was watching on ESPN, they were talking about it. Like, you walk into any school now in the States, like high school, kids are pulling up threes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The game's changed so much now. They are doing that perimeter game, and it's a guy like Steph Curry who is undersized, but now it's like it's cool to do those things.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing all the college programs doing and now the big guys are getting in on it. And it's just the way the game's set up. So like now the big guys are taking those shots in practice, and coaches are saying some of these guys can't do this, which just isn't fair when you're playing against some of these other schools, and you're 6'9" and you're posted up against a guy that's 6'2",
Right.
and you just
Well,
have your way with them.
Yeah, I mean, for the rest of this tournament, like I'm gonna keep watching because why wouldn't I? The only outcome that I don't want is for Michigan to win. So as long as anybody but Michigan wins, I'm cool with it. Whether it's Gonzaga or Baylor or Houston, who cares? But Muck Michigan now and forever. But let's move on to the big news of because I kind of got us on a tangent there about college basketball. But let's move on to the big news in the NFL. They have added an extra game and eliminated a preseason game. So
Can I just say one thing on this first?
I don't see why not.
I'll let you go first, but sometimes. The first thing that came out in the address from the commissioner was, I just need everybody to understand that we did this for the fact of player safety. And that player safety was the top thing on the list when they decided to do this. The very first line.
Well,
And the
they
very
said
last
that-
line was that it wasn't for the media and the money.
well, and yeah, I mean, the only reason that they can even do this is it's part of their collective bargaining because the second they said there's a clause in it that says the second that a new media partner adds a contract, then you can add additional games on the schedule. So they added Amazon as an official partner, and boom, now we got 17 games. So
I just think it's so funny how they came out right away. The first thing they said was, our first thought was player safety. Then why the fuck are you adding football games?
it's gonna be touch.
Yeah, for just playing flag in the trenches. Is that what it is? Or
Well, I think the data that they're pulling from is the average of people that get hurt in the fourth preseason game versus the amount of people that have ever been hurt in a 17th regular season game. So if you weigh out those options, like there's definitely more people that get hurt in the preseason than something that's never existed before. So I mean, they might have the math to support this thing. I think they got this thing figured out.
So how does anybody know how the formulas like made for how they make the teams, like the matchups? Like we know how it is this year, we've been told, but like going forward, how is that going to work out? Anybody
It's
know?
going to rotate with where you are finishing your division, and like you're just going to cycle through the divisions. So every 4 years you're going to play a division, but if you're a team like, I don't know, like Kansas City, for example, they're going to win their division for how many of the next 5 years? They're going to always play the first place team. So I don't know. I guess that makes exciting Week 17 matchups, I guess. But I don't really understand
Tampa
it.
got the fucking Colts. I'm not happy.
Yeah. Tampa gets
You
the
pulled the
Colts
Who's the
and
Colts, Shane?
the Seahawks.
Seahawks, yeah.
Which, I mean, yeah, sure. Like at least the Seahawks have to come to Pittsburgh, so whatever.
Yeah, we're going to Indy.
Yeah, like imagine.
My biggest thing about that is that Indy's gonna be playing for. Like, they'll be playing for something. Like we're not getting a fucking tune-up game for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think we win our division. I do believe that. But if we're playing for home field, and now we have to go to fucking Indy, who's just trying to get a wild card spot, because I do think the Titans win that division. I can't believe I just said that for Kaylin.
I
But,
can't believe you said that either because I don't think
he's
that,
so
but I'll
happy
ride
right
that wave, baby.
But yeah, like now they could be playing for a division, right? And unfortunately, the NFC South, like, we shouldn't have a problem winning. We have a Drew Brees-less Saints. Who knows what the fuck's going on with Atlanta? Sorry, Nick Newman, you guys suck. Carolina is fucking dog shit too. So we should go 12-4, 11-5, 11-5 will win our division easily.
15-1, 15-1.
I'm not pulling a Kaylin. He cursed himself last year. But yeah, no. So now we're gonna play a team when we're going for a home field because of this, and I'm not looking forward to that.
Well, and think of like we'll use the Seattle-Pittsburgh matchup, and it lines up in Pittsburgh's favor. But if you're Seattle, you're likely in the run for your division or one of the wild cards. Now, it's never gonna happen again that you would have to go from Seattle, take a plane to Pittsburgh, and then if you're a wild card, also have to take a plane to another NFC team. So if you have to go to Pittsburgh and then back to Seattle and then to Tampa Bay, that's an awful lot of traveling, or being out of your facility during the week between like the end of the season and your playoffs. Like, you don't want to be out of your facility before a playoff game.
No.
Like, and I don't see how anybody's not looking at that as a disadvantage. And for a team like, the Seahawks, I don't know if you said, Chad, the Bucks are going to Indy or vice versa. So you're going to play 8 road games.
Yeah.
And Goodell came out today and said that they're anticipating having every stadium full. And that includes Jacksonville somehow.
They're gonna
What
sell
does
out.
that mean? Oh, because they never are full? Yeah.
He said he expects every stadium to be full. So, I mean, I'm sure more people are going to go to the home opener to see Trevor Lawrence. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine them being any good this year.
So do you want to hear the fucking? It won't affect our lives because we're assholes.
Okay.
But I just looked it up. Do you know when the Super Bowl is now?
Yeah, it's later, right? It's on Valentine's Day or something.
The day before.
No.
So all the single guys are like all the single guys who get laid the day before Valentine's Day.
What is it?
Now
It's actually the 14th?
the 13th.
Oh my
So like
God.
it's like the greatest single day ever for single guys. Like it's like the guaranteed day to get laid is if you're a single guy, you go to the bar on the 13th, and now it's Super Bowl Sunday. Oof, that's a tough one. Not for me because I already know what I would buy, but
Yeah.
Wow.
like you're gonna have girls messaging you to go meet up, and you're still watching the Super Bowl. Oh, that's a tough one.
Also, yeah, I mean, it's always been the first week of February. It's usually how I remember Cheryl's birthday because her birthday's the first weekend of February.
Uh-oh.
So I'm gonna have to write this one down, I guess.
Yeah, you're gonna fuck up 2 weekends in a row.
Yeah.
Well, I
Sounds
guess
like
you
a
have
mess.
Pro Bowl now on her birthday, so you're good though.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's I wouldn't watch the Pro Bowl anyway, even if you paid me.
No.
The yeah, I hope that it sticks because as a fan, I'd love to watch an extra regular season game and whatever, right? Like, we're selfish. Anytime that I said it earlier, anytime that we can
So
line
being
up
selfish,
and
though,
drink a
being
couple extra
selfish.
beers. Yeah.
Do you honestly think it lasts only 17 games? Do you think this gets to 18 in about 5 years?
It's 18 in 5 years.
I think so too. There's no way they're
think
going to
that-
allow one team or a team to have more road games than home games in a year. Eventually, somebody's going to play into that.
Like, you think Jerry's okay if he has to play one extra road game?
That's what I mean. Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
He'll be
yeah.
pissed if somebody else gets an extra home game, make extra money.
They just have to find a way to make the math equation work so that 18 games, less people get hurt.
Yeah, so
If they-
there's no stats for that yet.
Yeah, if
It's
they
gonna
can
be all
figure
about
it out,
playing
then. I'm surprised that the NFL schedule is not out yet. I thought that it was going to be out sometime this week, which it's usually out a couple weeks before the draft, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we know we know who the home and the away teams are. We just don't know when they're being played. That's it.
yeah. Well, I would expect that to be one of the next couple of Thursdays before the season or before the draft, and That's usually what happens. It's like it's either a Tuesday or a Thursday before the draft, but we'll see how all that shit goes.
Were you
You know,
guys?
Jeff, you see Fields, what he ran today?
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
What are you
Wow. 4.44.
All right, I'm stepping away for a sec to get a beer. I didn't load up before we started.
What
Hold
a
on a sec.
rookie!
Yeah, just keep talking.
So
you're
where
at a 4.44. Now
Yeah.
this, I'll save my question for when Shane's back because I want to know how you guys both feel about this. How did he throw though?
he threw pretty well. Dropped some pretty good bombs, man. Like some lengthy throws too. Some deep,
Well, he has
deep
a
shot.
cannon, right? Like he has a big
Yeah,
arm.
yeah. I also wanted to, well, we'll come back before you go into that. You guys were totally fucking right about San Francisco. They came out and said that they're rolling with Jimmy, but their plan is to take a quarterback because they didn't want to get left at the altar.
It's Mac Jones.
Called it.
Yeah, it's Mac Jones.
They're not taking Mac Jones at 3.
100% there.
No
That's what
way.
they said, man. That's what I'm reading is all Mackie Jones. They apparently were at his pro day when they made that trade.
Mac Jones.
So-
You mean Zach Wilson?
Or Zach Wilson.
No.
Yeah, sorry. Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Mac
Yeah,
Jones was
no.
today.
No, they
But
want Mac Jones.
is the taking.
Yeah. What's his face? Shanahan and Lynch were at the pro day today, and they told Shefty, and Shefty doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut.
That's just blowing smoke, man. I
Nope.
heard that Mac Jones did not impress today. He missed a lot of throws.
That big bag of milk is going to be the new 49ers quarterback.
Man, at 3. No way. They're just making shit up.
I'm telling you, there's going to be
They're-
five
they're trying to-
quarterbacks.
they're-
Five
they're trying to get
quarterbacks
a
in the
trade.
first 10 picks.
They're trying to get that thing traded. That's why. They realize
Well-
they might not get their guy, and they're like, fuck, we need to get this thing back.
No,
Roll
they
it back.
gave up
You
3
get Ma-
first-round picks for Mac
You
Jones.
can get Jones at fucking easily 12.
Nope.
Easily, they could have got him at 12.
Nope.
Stop it.
People are loving them, man. Tell you,
Dude.
there's going to be 5 quarterbacks picked in the first round. Or the
Like, I
first
know,
top 10.
like, there's got to be like 4 people in the States that listen to us. I know they don't have bag milk down there, but like that's what Mac Jones looks like. Like if you drink a bag of milk and just sat it on the counter, that's Mac Jones.
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Hey, man.
No way. I was
He's-
going to ask you about like Bama and Ohio State having their pro days on the same day if it was intentional. If you think
And-
it was.
Yeah, of course it was a 10. And same with Texas A&M had theirs today, too. I couldn't believe how many pro days were today. And that's a quarterback that I'm interested in is Kellen Mond. And we'll go into that a little bit more into April because we're gonna have lots of time to kill on the draft.
But
Well,
no,
well, Phil-
fuck.
Tell me a little bit about your boy that you're talking about, Shane. What should I know about him?
Kellen Mond,
Yeah.
that's a 4-year starter that's playing under Jimbo Fisher out in Texas A&M.
So what should
This-
we know?
Strong arm. Think of Dak Prescott with a little bit more ability and just a big guy to take down.
Okay.
Can run
Do
with the
you want-
ball. Cam Newton with an arm, I guess. I don't know.
I think you guys, and 100% being a homer here, but I think a good guy for you would be looking at you, Ian Book, for you guys in the 4th and 5th round.
Oh yeah.
As long as he's got the brain.
4-year starter at Notre Dame, not a dumb guy. Our winningest quarterback. We've had a couple good ones lately. We've had some good teams. He checks all the boxes. Unfortunately, we got spanked by Bama, but so did everybody else in the fucking country. So I don't think that's fair for people to hold that against him.
Yeah, the
Like,
guy's
I
gonna be
think
the
he
3rd
lost
overall
four-
pick. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be
yeah.
embarrassed that he beat you.
I think we lost 3. Wow. I think he lost 3 games or 4 games in 4 years. Alabama was 1.
Yeah.
Clemson was 2 of them. And I think it was Ohio State. Those are just 4 losses.
Those are quality losses, I'd say.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, as much as I'm a Notre Dame homer, we don't have the talent to go to bat with those guys.
Well, it's because you would discipline your players if they got into trouble.
We
That's the real difference.
We kicked out our starting quarterback the year after we went to a national championship for
Yeah,
academics.
right.
It's a bit different in South Bend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for a team like Pittsburgh who has the time to get a quarterback to this project, and he reminds me a lot of Big Ben when he was young. The way he
That's
plays,
scary.
his size,
That's
his stature.
scary.
I think
Yeah.
he's just faster. I think that's the only difference. I think he's
Yeah.
smarter.
Is he big?
Oh yeah, he's about just under 230. Walks around at 6'5".
Okay. Yeah, let's bring him on campus here,
Yeah.
and we'll see if he can beat out old Dewey
Like-
Haskins for the third spot this year, which shouldn't be tough. I don't think.
So yeah,
I
I
mean,
think for
but-
you guys, that's a great look for
Chad-
you in the
Chad, you
fourth,
had a
fifth
question in your
round, 'cause
back pocket
You
there.
do need someone.
Chad, you had a question in your back pocket.
Oh,
for
it
us.
was
What
about Ohio State and Alabama. Do you think it was on purpose that Saban did that?
Oh, yeah.
Almost
Like,
guarantee you.
Like the only thing that I heard about Mac Jones that he did good today was that he convinced Devontae Smith to fucking run. Devontae Smith wasn't going to participate.
Well, so he's a motivationalist, sorry.
And then,
Yeah.
he
That's all you
overthrew
need
him
is a
in the, then
quarterback.
he overthrew him in the end zone though, and on a jump ball, he threw it over his head. And even Devontae Smith couldn't get to it. That's how much he missed him by.
Yeah, I think like Zach Wilson awed everybody in his pro day, and Justin Fields was great. I'd say the best thing that Mac Jones did in his pro day was keep his shirt on, because those other guys are built a little different than he is.
Like I understand, like I was gonna talk about this before too. Before even I found out that Mac Jones didn't perform the greatest at his pro day. Because I was gonna bring it up to you guys when talk about for how scripted pro days are for quarterbacks, and everybody looks great on their pro day. And then today I found out that Mac Jones didn't look great on his pro day. I was like, well, that just kind of fucking scrapped that whole topic.
Who said that? Because I was watching.
I was listening. I went out for lunch for work today, and they were talking about with Rappaport on the McAfee show, and Rappaport was there.
Wow. But yeah, I heard Schefter say that it was a done deal. Like the 49ers have already turned in their card. It's not even their turn yet. Unless the Jets take him, which it looks like it's going to go Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, then a couple receivers, and then a couple more quarterbacks.
They're saying that you're saying the Jets are going quarterback, eh?
They either have to go quarterback, in my opinion, or get one of the top receivers, which is going to be probably Ja'Marr Chase.
I just don't think Sam Darnold's that bad of a fucking quarterback, and I just don't think they can give up on him yet. I don't think it's fair to him either.
I would take him in Pittsburgh too. That quarterback room's getting a little crowded with Ian Book and Dewey Haskins and Sam Darnold and Ben Roethlisberger. But we'll just keep him coming in.
Keep them all.
It said online, and whatever you want to take this for on Bleacher Report, that the Jets have been trying to trade him, and the best offer they've gotten was a third-round pick. So
That's all you're gonna get for him.
I don't think that you can take a quarterback with you, a guy like that. If you surrounded him with some weapons and he still shit the bed, I mean, they're gonna just go 0-17 next year if they suck. So then you'll just get whoever the top pick is next year. But
Yeah, and just don't extend them. It's that simple.
yeah,
Which they did already, so they're good.
So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Like as far as free agency goes, like it seems like things are kind of slowing down in free agency, except for I can't even think of the guy's name, Kaylin. I don't know if you know off the top of your head, but the guy that leaked his signing over an online game of Call of Duty.
It's Rashad. Is it Crawford or Corone or something? I can't remember. But yeah, it was. He was
some dude from the Bears. Yeah.
And his girlfriend was streaming or something like that, and I guess somebody was watching her stream and overheard him saying, "Yeah, I'd love to go to Pittsburgh." So what was funny though? So the thread that hit Reddit, the original thread, was that it was actually a quarterback that was being traded.
Was
to
it
Pittsburgh.
Was it a cornerback? Is that what it was?
No,
I
it's
get
a
them
line.
sometimes.
He's an old lineman.
Oh, not
Yeah,
even
he ended up
close.
being an old line. Was he left?
Not
left
even
tackle
close.
or something like that. But yeah, so then it ended up becoming what's called copy pasta. So there was like literally 30 threads of this, and nobody knew if it was a legitimate thread or not. And then out of those 30 threads, like 2 of them were the actual guy who saw this real stream and called it ahead of time. And then the agent came out and said, yeah, it was true, whatever. Interesting though. It's funny how the Twitch world kind of came into play there in the game
Isn't
streaming
that
world.
how, like, what's his name? Swaggy P got caught cheating on his old lady on somebody else's Snapchat. Same kind of deal.
Who the hell is Swaggy P?
I don't know, the basketball player, Nick Young. Was that what his name?
Oh,
was?
Swaggy P.
Yeah, isn't that he got caught cheating on his wifey because his teammate was on fucking Snapchat and was in the background?
Yikes.
Yeah,
That's a bad teammate.
That's a shitty teammate.
Yeah. I mean, I don't condone cheating, but that's a shitty teammate. Yeah, that's kind of our NFL news at the moment. But it's time for me to rescind something because I told Kaylin and all the Leafs fans out there, I gave them all a lot of hope a few weeks ago when I said the Leafs are likely the best team in hockey, and they're running away with the North. Neither one of those things are true currently, and people are probably gonna hate hearing that. But that North Division has fired up quite a bit, eh, Kaylin? Do you see the standings in front of you there?
Sorry? Yeah, I saw the standings. Yeah, it has gotten much tighter. But this is more realistically. What I'm going to say here is that as a whole, Toronto is just as good as you were saying 3 weeks ago, Shane. Their goaltending has just fallen apart. It's fallen flat in their face. Freddie Anderson was a brick wall for 2.5 years there, and
Right.
he has certainly not been the case this season. He's definitely shown flashes of that, but he's fallen apart. And then they've got Hutch, I think, who lost his spot. Who was there? Is it Crawford or something that ended up taking over the backup spot? I can't remember who it was, but
Campbell?
that's what's holding them back.
Jack Campbell.
Jack Campbell, yeah. That's what's holding them back. If they can get a goaltender that can even average 2 goals against, they can probably win some games. But they're just they're giving up games all the time, and it's strictly due to their goaltending. It's certainly not due to their offense. And their blue line is probably the strongest blue line that we have probably seen there in over a decade. Like, I'm talking going way back to their days when Lindros and them were there. This is probably the strongest blue line they've had since then.
When was Lindros in Toronto?
During the lockout
yeah,
year.
that's what Lindros said too.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. I think it was a quick one, but yeah, the part of the North Division that I find interesting is Winnipeg is definitely one of the top teams. Toronto is still a top team in that division, and then Edmonton. But then you have the other 4, and the team that I'm most interested in seeing what's going to happen to them is Montreal, because they haven't played a game in 2 weeks. They haven't even been able to practice in 2 weeks. They got one practice in, and now they're playing against the Oilers. I think tonight they're playing against the Oilers. I haven't seen the score. But it's one thing to have all these games in hand against, and like you can catch up pretty quickly, but a game in hand means nothing if you don't win it. So can they regain they had a pretty good momentum going on their side. Can they regain that momentum and actually get themselves back into this and pass the likes of Calgary or Vancouver? No?
I'm going to say no, because what we've seen from the teams that have been affected by the 19 is it's their second
1-9.
win.
Get it right.
It's a 1-9. Is their second win, their ability to get their lungs back after coming back from that happening. And we got a bunch of teams now that have already now caught their second and third win coming into the stretch of the season. And I don't know if they can catch up. I think they're going to be a few weeks before they're back to normal. And after having 2 weeks off already, not practicing, that's going to be pretty difficult to catch up. So time will tell, but I don't think they can. I think the writing's on the wall for them.
They might finish last. I mean, Ottawa's kind of surging. Woo! Vancouver's got it sorted out a bit. I like Calgary's orange uniform, so I wanna at least root for them a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Bold statement. The Canadians
games in hand though. They only have to win a couple of those.
The Canadians are going to finish 7th in that division. That's
and I'm saying that any team that makes it out of that division outside of the Maple Leafs would get tossed in any other division against a top opponent.
I think the Oilers? You don't like the Oilers?
I don't like the Oilers. No. I think that they're in the same boat as the Leafs. I think they're a team that can put up 4 goals, but they can have 6 scored against them, and very quickly too.
Well, that's been Edmonton for the last 10 years.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. And that has been their Achilles heel. It's not going to get any better. I don't trust Edmonton in the playoffs, especially if they get out of the division and playing against a tougher opponent outside. Every other division, I think, has tougher top-end teams than the North does as a whole. So,
well, yeah, and the way that the playoffs are structured, I mean, they could win a playoff round against in their side of their division, and I mean, win 2 technically, I guess. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't see the Stanley Cup winner coming out of that division for sure. But one quick look ahead for next season. assuming like these divisions, I think they've kind of already said that this isn't going to happen next year. Do you think that the NHL should go out of their way to put the Leafs and the Oilers on the ice together a little bit more?
Yep.
I mean, you're looking at four of the top players in hockey on those two rosters,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I think it would be good for the sport, but I don't know. I think that's good for the Canadian viewer. I don't think that Joe Schmo at O'Malley's Bar and Grill in Chicago cares too much about what the Leafs and the Oilers are doing.
That being said, they don't care about us anyways. Like the ratings in the States suck regardless
Yeah,
of who's on. So like for as far as that part goes, it doesn't matter. Like, I think they need to market to a Canadian market even just to get the ratings up anyways.
and
No one gives
I mean,
no one gives a flying fuck outside of Detroit, Chicago, New York, Boston, maybe Philly and Pittsburgh, Washington, maybe lately, last couple of years. Outside of that, no one cares about hockey in the States.
it's a niche sport, right? It's the same thing as the NBA. I mean, with the exception of the Raptors and maybe like the Lakers and I don't know, like the Knicks when we were growing up. Who else would have like a national fan base?
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
no one likes Charlotte. I tried.
Well, I think what they need to
look at the Lightning and how good they are, and how dominant they are. The last 4 or 5 years, they've been just one of the top teams, and they're not even selling out games until you could buy playoff tickets the day of.
Yeah, I sat on the glass there for $18.
Yeah,
It was sick.
like the only games they sell out is when Toronto's in town. And I'm not even a Leafs fan. I hate Leafs fans. They drive me nuts. But yeah, like they need the Canadian teams to grow the game on first. Like we'll go down to, and that's why I think it's a shame that Seattle got a hockey team and no one in Canada did.
Where would you have placed it?
Realistically, anyone in Ontario would have worked. They would have sold it out. Hamilton, obviously, but the Leafs won't do it. It's too close. Quebec City is obviously another one. That was a big one. I don't understand how Saskatchewan doesn't have a team. That they sell out fucking Rough Riders games.
Yeah.
They're like the only province, like the Jets sell out every game. Both teams in Calgary sell out every game. You're telling me you put a team in Saskatoon, you're not selling that thing out?
Yeah, you would think so, and you would definitely think even if you went to the East Coast, you'd be able to figure something out like
Maritime team, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we could be commissioner for the day, but I definitely I think Chad's onto something there as far as the butt Krakens. I mean, I've seen a few people wearing those hats around and stuff. Like, I don't know. I think at this age, it's a little bit difficult to pick a favorite team, and I know because I tried to pick a favorite NBA team this year because I'll be honest, like I was a Raptors fan growing up, and then I completely abandoned them. So after they won the championship, I'm not just going to jump on the bandwagon. Like that'd be kind of dirty. So I tried to like Sacramento, couldn't do it. Tried to like the Hornets. Like I know if I don't care if they're losing, that like I have zero interest in that team, and I couldn't find I just couldn't find it in me to pick a new team. But
Utah, man.
That's where I've been at hockey for years. That's where I've been at hockey my whole life. I was a diehard Montreal Canadiens fan growing up. I haven't watched hockey since I was probably 16 years old. I watched the World Juniors. I won't miss a game. I'm the guy that waits about 4 o'clock in the morning to watch a game in Russia. Love junior hockey. We're spoiled here in London with the Knights. I couldn't give a flying fuck about the NHL. And I tried picking a team this year, and meh. I only put hockey on in the background just so I can like watch it so we have something to talk about.
right.
If it wasn't for this show, I wouldn't put a hockey game on at all. And unfortunately, like now you're gonna put these games down in the States, and the majority of their fans are me.
If it wasn't for Cool Bet, I wouldn't watch the NBA.
So I don't know.
That's a fact.
Such haters, man. It's a Canadian invented that sport, boys.
That's okay.
Thumbs up to him.
Let's go on to another Canadian sport. You guys know that baseball starts on Thursday?
Yeah, I had my fantasy draft last night. Remember we tried to do it and you weren't allowed?
Yeah, it's awful. It was the
Man,
worst format ever.
You literally won the day by not having to go in this draft.
Yeah, it was like, and you guys have you guys ever been in an auction draft for the NFL?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll tell you right now, Shane, if I ever call an auction draft for one of the leagues we're in, you have my permission with witnesses. You're allowed full blown to punch me in the mouth.
So you guys
Okay.
had an auction
Like
baseball
WWE,
fantasy draft?
like
It was
WWE
horrible.
style, hands behind my back.
That sounds really weird
You get a
and
free shot
complicated for
if
some
I
reason.
ever do an auction draft for NFL.
Kaylin, yeah, I'm gonna punch Chad for football, but I'm telling you, like this draft is probably still going on.
It might
You
be.
have
Really?
to, you have to
It's
fill
just
like,
like real life until somebody finally says, "Okay, guys, I'm done."
Literally,
Yeah.
there was 12 teams and 23 roster spots.
Holy hell, man!
And the problem is there wasn't even a snake where like it tells you should pick this person because you have these places left to fill. No. Someone nominates a player and then you have to spend X amount of money. Some guy, I don't know who he is. I only know one guy in this league. He had 3 players and used almost 80% of his budget. So I don't know a lot about baseball. I was like, oh, like my rule of drafting baseball players is if I've heard of you, you're probably not that bad at baseball. I figure that's a safe way to go. 'Cause I
That's
don't
fair,
watch that
yeah.
much baseball.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So it would tell you though what the average draft like cost was of a player and the projected. Like I know Alex Bregman's good at baseball. Like I know that much. His average amount was $27 or something. His projected was 26, maybe, I don't know, 27, somewhere around there. Somebody bought him for $50. Our salary cap was 260.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was a dumpster fire, and I tried to do it for Chad because he was at a coaching meeting. So he's like, "Hey, can you do this draft?" I was like, "Yeah, no problem." So the best thing that ever happened was, as a co-manager, you can't do the draft. Like you have to have permission. You have to have permission from your manager to do the draft, and he didn't set my permissions properly, so I couldn't do it. So I had to be like, "Yeah, Chad, I can't do it, bro." So he had to go on and do it.
Auto draft?
No, Chad
No.
had to go on and do it at his meeting.
I was at a meeting doing it. So I didn't buy anybody in the first like 15 picks, which at the rate they were going, I wouldn't afford them anyways.
Yeah.
Like I
Well,
had $260 to buy 23 players. I'm sorry. I'm not spending $60 on one dude.
Yeah.
yeah, that's 3 songs.
I literally sent Shane. That's a strip club joke in case anyone didn't get it. But yeah, I at least sent Shane my roster. Like, so how do I look, man? Like, I don't even know this. He's like, you actually didn't do too bad.
Yeah, no, honestly, I went through it today. It's not too bad. It's the scoring is really shitty, so we'll see. But
Who was the
Did
most
you guys-
expensive player taken? Not on your team, but in general.
I'm trying to look it up. I remember the Alex Bregman one because I was like, holy shit, it doesn't stop. Like people just kept spending more money, and I'm like, you guys are over $20 over his average cost.
Acuna Jr. went for like 60 plus.
Jeez. Oh my God.
Yeah. So that guy gets hurt and you can't fill your roster, and then
Yeah.
the league just folds because you can't fill the team. It's just stupid. But did you guys see that the Mets owner he lost his fantasy auction draft?
No.
You didn't see this? Okay, so
No.
he offered Francisco Lindor 10 years, $350 million, and he said, "No thanks."
So why did he say that, Shane? Enlighten me. What's going on here?
Well, in baseball, contracts are unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, he was recently just traded there from Cleveland. Maybe he didn't want to go there. Maybe he doesn't want to be a New York Met. If you're going to New York, I would rather be a Met because I've read a bunch of books about the Mets in the 80s, and I think that's such an awesome story. But that's a story for another time. We'll light the fireplace and smoke some cigars, and I'll tell you guys about those stories.
Now I'm intrigued.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he wants to be in a better team. The Mets have been perennial losers. Why would you tie yourself to a team that is gonna suck for the next 50 years, for the next
Because
10
the
years.
Mets have the greatest story in baseball, and it's called July 1st.
Yeah, he should have got
It's
that
my
Bobby Bo
favorite.
deal.
It's my favorite day of the year, and that's why I would sign with the Mets anytime.
Yeah.
If they want to
Also-
call me up for $1 a year the rest of my life, no, I'll sign just so I can have Chad Stewart Day.
Also, like for this, for Lindor, and this is like a complete ego thing. If he signs his deal, that means he'll never be the best shortstop in his division because Acuna Jr. is way better than him. Always will be. Not even close.
So, with the Mets being the dumpster fire that they are, will they hold on to him through season, or are they going to trade him, Shane?
Well, we'll see, right? If they're in the hunt the way that they think they're going to be, then they'll hang on to him. But they weren't able to lure George Springer away.
Mhm.
He ended up going to the Jays. And I don't think that they have the pitching depth to hold up. Also, they're in a really, really tough division where, I mean, I'm going to tell you guys right now, the Braves are winning the World Series. I don't know if anybody told you, but that's
The
happening.
Braves?
The Braves are winning the World Series. They're gonna like, I'll just that's call my shot right now, lubing up the deals. But
Did
if
you
you
get
want
that
to go
on
on
cool bet yet?
yeah, I do. I have it at like plus 750.
Oof. So a
Yeah.
couple dollars.
Yeah,
Whew.
yeah.
That was almost as me getting Aaron Rodgers with the MVP this year.
Yeah, exactly. So if I were you, I would take the Braves to not only win their division, go ahead and win the pennant and win the World Series, and that's your three-peat. But yeah, I mean, the Braves are built to win long term. The Mets are trying to buy their way into being competitive. If I was Lindor, I wouldn't sign that. Even like you look at that money, $35 million a year, that's a significant amount of money. But if he waits another year, he's going to get 40 from somebody. Like
Mhm.
Tatis in San Diego, like what's his average value again, Chad?
I don't know.
Something crazy, right?
It was stupid.
It's like 43 or something. So
All I
why
know
would
is
you?
they have over $250 million in their infield or something stupid like that.
Yeah. Between Hosmer and Machado and
Yeah.
yeah, like that whole team is just unbelievable. I don't, do you guys have a favorite for who's going to win the World Series? I mean, you could say the Jays if you want.
Well, now
Sucks.
you just told me to pick the Braves, so
Yeah, I mean, unless you're saying the White Sox, like that would be a really terrible bet because the Red Sox are going to be better than last year, but they're still going to stink.
you guys want a good cheap laugh?
Yep.
So I'm on my streaming device here for the basketball game. We won't say names. I don't want to get people in trouble. But they have a chat going on the side, and some guy's name is the Red Tube Raider.
Jeez.
Oh, that's good stuff. I had to share that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I hope he gets a shout out now. I hope someone watches our show that knows him.
All right.
What?
So
What do you get?
Kaylin's saying the Red Sox are gonna go farther than the Braves, and if that's the case, then he's gonna toboggan down a hill naked. Gotcha.
Jesus.
And now for our next topic, Red Tube Raider.
Chad, who's winning the World Series?
I don't know, baseball team.
It's not gonna be USC.
It's not going to be, no, definitely not going to be USC.
Yeah, they're having a tough time right now.
Honestly, yeah, I was thinking the Braves going in, like I was going into this was the Braves. They have so much talent everywhere. They hit the ball, they can score, they got pitching. I like Freddie Freeman. He looks pretty cool at first base. So
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
and then
we'll
you
go.
vouched for me, so I'm going to take your pick. Because every
Yeah,
year I
we'll
say the
go.
Jays and I lose my money. So
No. Like I'm gonna cheer for the Jays all year, but I'll be lockstep. The other thing, and I want to teach you guys about this. It's first five betting in baseball. So you can bet the over under on runs in the first 5 innings, which we'll do that. We'll do that off air. I'll teach you guys a little bit of handicapping in baseball because this is baseball not involving bullpens. So we'll be able to have a little bit of fun with that. But another thing that I wanted to do was we're going into April. Everybody knows what April is going to bring. In a normal year, we're looking at opening day for baseball. We're looking at the NCAA championship Final Four. We're looking at the Masters, NFL Draft. This year, mix in the the NHL trade deadline. So I have to
It's
ask
usually
you.
NHL playoffs. Usually,
I guess yeah. I guess that's true. So what is your favorite sports month?
October.
oh, you go for October.
Yeah, I'm going with October. You're about a month into the football season, so you kind of see where teams are starting to go. You're a few weeks into the hockey season too, and by then my team is typically out of it now, so I'm already looking the other way. We got playoff baseball, right, which is always fun to talk about, right? So I think I'm going to go October. Basketball's in effect, so I have every sports playing.
It's just so tough for me on this one. Like I want to say February because it's Super Bowl, but that's just one thing for me. I'm not a Daytona 500 fan, but I know it's a big thing down in the States, so I can see how that would play into it.
Right.
But also, like, I'm gonna go with February just for like that fact. And then the big thing is, one of the biggest cards in the UFC, which is actually my second favorite sport. You guys know that is fighting, is on Super Bowl weekend. Like that weekend alone for me is just one of the happiest weekends for me. Saturday night I get the fights. Sunday I show up at Shane's house around 1:00 in the afternoon, already half cooked. Except for this year because Tampa was playing. The only reason why I wasn't there was because Tampa was playing. I mean, I guess we shot a show too, so that also came into play.
Yeah, this is probably the first Super Bowl that just passed. This is probably the first one in like, what do you think, like 8 years that we didn't watch
So
together?
I actually did the math because Ashley was asking me how long I knew you. It was 2013 that we worked together. It was the first time, and I started there
that
in the
lines up.
spring, and we watched Super Bowl that year. So this was the first one, I guess, in 8 years that we didn't watch together.
Jeez. Well,
Yeah.
good thing. I mean, at least we had the show. Like, let's not get too sad. Let's not get too down
Yeah.
on each other here.
And the Bucks won, so that's a big plus.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, if I don't watch a game with you and my team wins the Super Bowl, I'm down for that every year.
Yeah. I hear that. So I was gonna take October, but Kaylin wanted to be a fucking son of a bitch, and we didn't talk about this before we came on, so I'm gonna let him have it.
It's a
But
birthday month too.
yeah. For
Yours too?
all
That's my birthday month.
yeah. It says monthly. For all of the reasons that I said, and for what we're about to go into, I'm just gonna stick with April. I mean, think of all the stuff that we're gonna talk about. Back in November, I remember the four of us met and we're like, okay, football's gonna end in 3 months. What are we gonna do? And then, like February, I think we did pretty good. And in March so far, we've been like, yeah, we've had free agency. In April, I think we are gonna have so much to talk about. We aren't gonna have enough time. I mean, first of all, like breaking down the Final Four on the in a few days, we're gonna be breaking down the Final Four. That's probably gonna take up the entire show. Then we have like weeks dedicated to the draft. Not to mention we're doing our own scouting combine. Uh, call me crazy,
Can't
but
wait
I
to
think
see
that
Chad's 3-cone.
call me crazy, but I think we're gonna have a little bit of a conversation about the Masters.
I'm gonna make fun of you.
Yeah, we're
I have
gonna
one leg and a
definitely
fucked up spine. I had spinal surgery and I'll still beat you.
we're
I'm a
gonna
fucking
be
paraplegic.
we're definitely gonna be talking about the Masters because we already told you why we're gonna talk about the Masters. We don't need to spoil that again. And what else? We got the trade deadline coming in right in the middle to cuck everything out of it. And I'm gonna say that this trade deadline, people are gonna be way heavier buyers because there's teams that you can just pillage right now. I mean, is there gonna be a single player on the Sabres left? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean,
Taylor Hall. It's fucking trash.
someone's gonna pick him up, man, because
For $5.5
Sabres-
million a year for 2 goals?
100%. 100%. So I was going to do it because you're going to the playoffs. You can get him, and you're going to give up nothing for him because of his salary.
yeah,
And all you need is a show. You put him in a better environment with some winners.
yeah, put that guy in someone's third line. I mean, if the Devils were in the playoff race, I'm sure you would take that guy back.
If I had MVP Taylor Hall, not Arizona or Buffalo Taylor Hall.
Doesn't
or even the
matter.
year after MVP Taylor Hall. Come on.
Well, man, and we're getting off topic here a little bit, but for the Sabres, like, how could you respect your coach that it took him the 18th loss to come out in his press conference to say, okay, this is getting embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's getting embarrassing. You've lost 18 in a row. You haven't won in a month and a half. And this is getting embarrassing. Man, what are you going to say after 19 and 20? Like, I'm not sure they're going to win again. I actually actively hope that the Sabres don't win another game all year after the bullshit they pulled on me yesterday.
I went on
But-
the NHL website today, and the first thing that popped up was, "Are the Sabres the worst team in all of sports?"
Yes. Yeah. The Sabres are trash. And
Yep.
for the 5 Sabres fans out there, I mean, if you're looking for something like a bright future, at least the uniforms are cool.
No, they have
I
a
don't know.
wonderful history with Michael Pekka. They don't have to worry about any type of future. That team sucks. It's brutal.
They're a minus 51 goal differential.
They're
Yeah.
They've
terrible,
only
Chad.
played 34 games.
Yeah, they're really bad. Like, really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're awful. I think it's pretty cool that we can pick a favorite sports month. I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice that sports are back too.
hmm
Maybe 2023 we can go watch a Knights game together or something.
Man,
Well,
do you want what I'm looking forward to? Like, I'll pay top dollar. I want to be at that first Knights game when you're at 100% capacity. That roof is going to blow off that place.
yeah.
Like, we have the best team and the best fans in like junior sports. It would be the equivalent of going to like a top 3, top 5 NCAA football game. Is what that's the way I like say we're going to a nice game like junior hockey is here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I mean, I'm sure that the Hunters haven't been sitting back not doing anything. I'm sure that they're out there recruiting and figuring out players that they can bring in or players that they can convince that tell them that you're not going to play if they draft you so that you'll fall to us. I mean, we're having
probably
shades
traded
of
their draft picks for the next 10 years already.
yeah, we're having shades of the early 2000s again.
Mhm.
But
Oh fuck. They're
man.
the geniuses.
yeah,
All right,
nah.
before we sign off, me and Kaylin want to talk about the UFC quick. I know Liam wants to punch us in the mouth, but that's what happened to Stipe, and he went to sleep, Kaylin. So watch yourself. And if you haven't seen it, Kaylin, I mean Liam, sorry, go put on Stipe Mikovic or however you pronounce his last name, and that guy did the stanky leg like it was back in 09.
Liam's
He got hit.
continuously Liam's watching the Oral Roberts video that I sent him.
Kaylin, you said you watched the fights. Like, how did you feel about them? Like, I loved the first 2 I missed. I was at a coaches meeting. I was at football.
Yeah.
We had our OTA, so I came home just for the O'Malley fight.
Yep.
And I had a hard time watching that one. Just the
Why?
fact that I like O'Malley. I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
of his.
okay.
I actually do.
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that I understand you want flash knockouts. You want to put guys to sleep. You want to do those things. He could have lost that fight because of that reason.
Sure.
He had homeboy drop twice in the first round and didn't finish him because he walked away.
Yeah.
When he landed that head kick and he didn't finish the fight, if he doesn't walk away, he hits that guy 2 times and it's over. The ref stops it.
hmm
There's no reason that fight went as far as it did, and that was on him. And he's a young kid. I get that. Huge promise though, and like he has so much to grow. Like he has a great record,
Yeah.
but he's had issues too, right? With he's broken. I think he's broken his foot, broken his shin or something. And the last time he got like calf kicked to death and like pretty much couldn't stay on his leg, and without tapping out the fucking strikes, he just lost the fight.
Mhm.
But yeah, like he has so much promise, but he has to understand that you got to finish fights, man. You can't do those things.
Oh, I think he's playing to his opponent. I mean, we watched that. After that first knockdown, he knew where he was in that fight. He was well above him, and I don't think he ever for a moment thought that he could have lost that fight. So going at him and letting him hit the ground the second time, he, like you said, he wanted to be a big flashy, a big splash in the page right now for the UFC, and he wants to make sure that his name is known for a long time. I feel that he's kind of really wearing this whole Connor-esque thing, though. Like, do you kind of get that idea about him? Like, he really tries to be mini Connor.
He's the Diaz brother version of fucking Conor McGregor.
Yeah, that actually is a great way to describe him. He's just his best hype man for sure.
Like the homeboy looked like fucking riffraff
Yeah,
with his fucking rainbow hair and tattoos on.
6'9", Tech 6'9", or whatever that rat bag
he probably
is.
snitches on people too.
Jeez.
But yeah, no, like he's like I said, he's a young kid. He does have promise. He has a great record. And the fan, like, he's obviously building a brand, and I get that. That's what he's trying to do. That's what every fighter's trying to do. They're all taking the Connor route now. But yeah, like, all it takes is one punch, and your hype train's gone, man.
Yeah,
It's that simple. Like, finish the fucking fight.
yeah.
You kick that guy in the face in the first round, and then you don't finish it. You look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
If you get caught in the second round or the third round, just say homeboy's like, hey, I can't bang with you. I'm gonna wrestle you, and you get wrestle fucked for the next 2 rounds, and you lose 2 rounds to 1.
Yeah.
Then what? You look like a fucking idiot. So fight the fight, finish it when it should be finished. That's my underrated on that one. Sorry.
Yo, when are we having that rough and rowdy chick back on?
I
it,
gotta ask
Casey?
her this week. Yeah, she agreed to be on. We got 3. Her fight's in 4 weeks. We have to get her on the next 2 realistically. I'll reach out to her.
Cool.
Cool.
Kayla, what's on your mind? I can see your head pop off over there.
Speaking of fights that should be finished, the Woodley fight. What the hell happened? The guy got knocked. He was drunk boxing at one point, it seemed like. He stumbled across the 30% smaller ring, might I add. So those heavyweights in the last fight looked huge.
Yeah.
He stumbled across that ring, looking like he had just finished a 12-pack. Lands on the cage and is leaning against the cage. He's fighting the air at one point, not even swinging. The reason he lost that fight is because he had zero use of his legs. He couldn't push himself off the cage. I have no idea. And even at one point,
the reason he lost that fight is because he lost all the use of his legs. He didn't just.
Well, yeah. Seriously. And Rogan even called it out. He said he's standing, he's stumbling across the ring. What's going on right now? And as somebody who doesn't watch a lot of fights, to me, that was a glaring, like, I understand you're going to let the fight go on, but this guy stumbled 4 or 5 times and then clear across the ring.
That is what they call a champion, like a champion's, like, I guess we'll say, like, status. Like, he's a former champion, right? And they want Tyron Woodley back in that hunt.
He was fighting Teo's girlfriend. Manti Teo's girlfriend was in that ring fighting him at one point. He was seriously doing this to air, bro. It was hilarious.
If you watch any fight, if you're a champion, a top contender, or a big name, that ref does not call that fight right away. They want to give you the chance to fight back. Unfortunately for him, it doesn't happen. Like, Vicente Luke, I don't know I can't pronounce his name, the French guy. He knocks dudes out, and he puts them to sleep. Like, I think he's won 4 in a row by doing it this way. He's like put guys out, and they've gone on losing runs because they're never the same. And now Tyron Woodley, I think he's lost 4 in a row now. That was a former champion. He's lost 3 in a row for sure. It might be 4. But yeah, no, he got fucking stone cold, like, that was a stone cold fucking stunner. The Rock flopping around the ring. That was him.
A very telling fight.
It was like the brain was trying to tell him one thing, but the legs were like, hey, we're not ready for this.
Yeah.
So, like, the communication got stopped halfway through his chest. Like, the brain was shut off, but the legs were still working.
We are off the rails. I think our producer fell asleep. We are off the rails.
And then the last fight, we will touch really quick on it. And Ngannou, what a great fight it was. I know I'm taking a long time here, but that was a great fight. The guy is a specimen. He's going to be the champion for a long time. Jones, I know he has his little spiel about being cut from the UFC, get him out of the league or whatever. But it's Ngannou's division. It's Ngannou's belt for a long time. I don't see anybody challenging that.
Well, Kayla, I would suggest if you're going to take a long time, you save that stuff for your wife. Okay. Don't waste the good stuff on us.
She gets it, Shane. Don't worry, she gets it.
Yeah, no comment.
Yeah. Anyway. Thanks for listening if you still are. Don't forget to click subscribe and like our YouTube. Definitely like our Facebook and Instagram if you haven't already. I'm sure you are if you're watching this. But cheers, guys, and we'll catch up later this week.
Cheers.